A lot about their personal lives. I never ask people personal questions, really, unless I'm really interested in them. I don't even know what half of them do.
Is that clear, Mr. Fuckhead from Tunisia?
Some people don't take their medications occasionally, and so they can be a little hot-headed. Several days ago, actually, one of the players took offense and started screaming at me.
Mostly the level in the park is pretty high. Certainly the word knowledge is pretty high.
43.
Aldo is the most extreme, amazing example of that. Aldo has never played in a rated tournament. He would be in the top 50, I believe.
I started playing Scrabble only about 5-6 years ago here. I went to grammar school, Washington Square Park, St. Joseph's. Went to NYU, so I grew up here.
Joe Edley did come to the park last summer, and I'll tell you, it was just a brilliant day.
They wanted me to play Edley. I guess I'm the champion of Washington Square Park.
And when Aldo started playing, just about everybody gravitated to that table because that was the center of interest, you know. Because Aldo's one of the boys, and everybody wanted to see him kick some ass.
My turf. This is my, you know.
Joe Edley was not the most loved person in the Scrabble world.
I remember Joe had a bingo on his rack.
A bingo which everybody on the side saw, and he was the best player in the country, and he didn't see it.
For some reason or other, everyone is seeing it, and I'm not. I just have blank in my head, and also on my rack, but I just...
Aldo beat him, simple as that.
But he made the Parkies proud, so it's a good moment.
Everybody was happy to see the guy get his ass kicked.
He listed a bunch of excuses. His biorhythms were bad. There were things happening.
Is that what he said?
It would never happen in tournaments.
Is that what he said?
Kibitzing, yelling. I mean, it's not like a tournament at all. It's like a noisy, noisy club.
Well, let's put it like this, he has not returned.
A lot of doing well at this game is the obsession. I mean, you really do have to have the brain working and knowing how to assess the probabilities and
spend
things.
hours and hours studying and memorizing
But without
words.
that obsession, you're just not going to get that far.
But I just put the cue in the bag. There's only 6 tiles in the bag. The women, I think, don't have as much time. They're trying to do the whole thing, the career, the family. I was actually going to college full-time and had 3 kids at home when I won. It's basically a numbers game. The people that excel seem to be people that are into numbers kind of things and logic. They're not the English teachers, they're the math teachers. I have a degree in computer science. Jan Dixon is an accountant.
The play is unacceptable. What do you mean you want me to take my own time?
There have never been more than 6 women in the top 50 at any one time at the rated players. There has been as few as only 3 women. The theory is that men tend to be a little more competitive, a little bit more their ego riding on it. A lot of men, if they've got the strong ego, if they can't maintain that level, they quit playing.
Yeah, and also, I think maybe there might be something genetic in women that we don't care as much whether we dominate. The women in Scrabble tend to just not be as obsessed.
Look at it. Look, it goes through the SCH sometimes when you got nothing to do. Well, you know, schmooze, schmelz. I don't know what schmelz is. What is that? You're Yiddish. You have to look it up. You're supposed to know that stuff.
Unless it's a variation of schmaltz.
$72. 66. $47. 14. Challenge Elfins, ELFINS. Good. It's good? Seriously? No, it's not in Webster's. It must have come from one of the older collegiates.
I never applied myself that hard to anything I ever did in my life besides Scrabble. I never succeeded in any other endeavor. I have done very little to contribute to society most of my life. I was a college dropout. I felt I had learned everything I needed to know in order to get by in this life in kindergarten when I knew how to read. I don't have a real life as compared to most people I know, and even most Scrabble players I know. How a typical day goes for me, I sleep while the sun is shining, and then I get up and eventually play a few games of Scrabble, and that's the day. Every Thursday night, I run National Scrabble Association Club number 56 in New York City. My particular club is frequented by the most competitive players around. There's very little else I'm actually qualified to do at this point, and playing Scrabble is actually the only thing my body will allow me to sit still and do for a period of time without major interruptions. The next selection is my latest Scrabble anthem, and this is from the Beatles. And once you hear the lyric, you'll know immediately why it's a Scrabble anthem. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither while they pass, they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me. Jai Guru Deva
I think you have two guys who know each other's game very well. They have their little quirks. I think Joel will win eventually, but I'm a little prejudiced.
I don't know if I can. I'm just getting outpicked so badly.
I'm ahead by 4 games, 12-8.
It's very frustrating to get stopped. I mean, it's not even close. Would you be willing to settle? You don't have any great incentive to do so other than mercy. The fact that I'm on a terrible run.
How much am I settling for?
Well, I was figuring like about 500 was about right at that, 40% through the match. But
all right, I'll accept 500 now.
You'll accept 500?
Yeah.
It's just,
all right, I have no objection. All right. Done deal, 500.
Well, just like I'm out here, you want to play a little low-stakes collaborative or something? Just a couple games before I go back.
The reason Scrabble took off for me is my mom had tried to thrust it upon me for years, and I wasn't interested in learning how to play. Then one year she gives it, one of those like, why would somebody give you a gift you had no interest in and you'd already expressed it? So she gives me and my girlfriend at the time, a Scrabble game. And when you're learning how to do something on your own, it's more rewarding. Oh, here's how you score. You gotta get these letters across the premium square. Oh, you gotta leave yourself better. You can't just score. You gotta leave good tiles in the rack or you're screwed next time. When I was at this first tournament and saw the way the good players played, all the 7 and 8 letter words just, spreading out over the board, and I liked it.
Give it up for Matt Graham, everybody. Matt Graham.
Conan O'Brien has 3 monologue writers. They went on a succession of like vacations of 3, 4, and 5 weeks over like a year and a half. And I filled in on all those. That because they never have a last dollar, you know what I mean? I've had the best, I don't know anybody who's had a better